E5 don't make no mistake, bro.
What's E5? Because I heard of it.
A lot of people practice it like Santeria or somebody.
Beyonce.
Some people do. Yeah, Beyonce practice E5. She a child of Oshun. She a child of Oshun. She got songs. She got songs like talking about her ancestor. Every time she dressed up like her ancestor. When she was pregnant, she dressed up as Oshun.
Oh wow. So have you ever spoken with the dead?
Yeah, I feed them.
What do you mean?
I feed them all the time.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom, call halal, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, that's giving all praise to the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, double honors to our teachers, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us His truth and sincerity, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, Shalom to the 144,000. It says, rapper tells truth about Beyonce, stunner for Vegas claims Beyonce allegedly practices a religion called Ifa, where she feeds her ancestors. Okay, and he's saying that he followed the same religion, which really is sorcery, is witchcraft. Okay, these so-called celebrities and rappers and ball players and whatnot, they're all into sorcery, witchcraft. Okay, and this is how a lot of them got to where they are. All right, this world is ruled by Satan, so you don't get to be on the front screen or on the airwaves without making some type of covenant with the devil. And that's what a lot of these individuals are doing. And you got our people who are ignorant to these things, listening to these individuals, their music and whatnot, and not realizing that it's leading you to death and destruction. Now, he says Santa Maria, which is a lot of our people that do that too, especially in Northern Kingdom. I dated a girl in high school. She was Manessa, Cuban, and she was into that shit, man. And her whole family was into it, and it was a big thing in her family and culture. And I ended up breaking up with her because of that shit. I was like, yeah, I can't get down with that, But this is something that's, going around amongst our people. And we're going to read what the scriptures say about this madness, man. All right. That being witchcraft and sorceries that our people are doing to, really they're communicating with spirits, evil spirits. That's why he said he feed them. When the motherfucker go to talking about the ancestors, listen, we are our ancestors. Our ancestors were us in past lives in different bodies, but the same spirit, okay? So when they talk about ancestors now, they're really talking about spirits, demons, okay? Unclean spirits, and that's what they're dealing with. So when he says that he feed them, like when you have a Santa Maria or a Bruja or whatever, these satanic religions, they have what, demonic rituals, man. This is why they'll sacrifice a chicken or a goat or, something along those lines. One time I met this Levi girl. She was Haitian. Okay, I met her at a restaurant. She was working there. We ended up started talking. Going back to her place and hanging out. And I remember I ran up out of that motherfucker, man. Never looking back. Started ignoring her after that because she went in her backyard and showed me her whole shrine, saying how she was putting spells upon her ex-boyfriend for cheating on her and shit. I'm like, what the hell? So as time goes on, a lot of our people are getting into this sorcery and witchcraft, and the Lord is going to judge them for it. Let's play some more.
Take care of them, for them to take care of me every day.
This is a religion that originated in Africa?
Yeah. It's the religion that they say all African Americans are supposed to practice.
Now that's a rapper, stunner for...
All Africans Americans are supposed to practice. Well, that's what got us put in captivity in the first place. Because we was going to these other gods and dealing with these false religions, these false... gods, and ultimately that was idolatry. Okay, that's what got us brought over here in captivity and put at the bottom. Okay, and now coming back to YAHAWASHI Yahawashi in these last days before he destroy America, doing these things will get you destroyed with America.
Vegas, an artist that the baby signed back in the day, talking about the Yoruba religion in Beyonce. Once again, somebody else is talking about Beyonce being a witch. At the end of the interview, he goes on to call the interviewer brainwashed.
I remember one time I got into it with my older sister about that Beyonce shit because she loved Beyonce, and Beyonce's fans are fanatics. She loves Beyonce, and she was ready to go to bat with me over Beyonce. I'm like, you don't even know this fucking lady. It's because it's sorcery. They call them the Beehive. Okay, Beyonce's fans, they call them the Beehive. She have a spell on these people who listen to her. You listen to her music, you go on her concerts, they're putting a spell on you. They're doing sorceries and enchantments on you. It's going to show you, look.
Yet he's the one feeding dead people. Guys, pay attention to who you're listening to and the songs you're singing. Because a lot of different times you're singing to an ancestor or a different god you have no idea you're singing to. Why?
Yeah, that's why, it's lucky if I keep interrupting it, but that's why Beyonce, when she performs, she says her alter ego Sasha Fierce takes over, which that is a demon, okay? That is a demon that is possessing her when she performs, and that's why she gives those performances like that, man, where she dancing all crazy and stuff, because it's literally a demon has possessed her in that moment, okay? And when people go to them concerts, that's why I don't go to concerts, bro. I don't go to concerts. The only concert I ever fucking went to was my own concerts when I made music, and even then that shit was off because people was idolizing you. I remember I went to a concert and there was all these young girls in there, and they was all like fucking going crazy, and I'm like, damn, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, there's energies, okay, and all this stuff. So you go to these concerts and they're putting spells on you. They're putting demons on you. They got you bugging out
because you're choosing to listen to these witches and these warlocks.
This
is why I always say be careful what goes into your eyes and your ears, because these are your portals. These are your gates. You need to hold firm at your gates and keep your gates closed and locked, because once you open them to the wrong spiritual things.
And this is what I went into my last lesson about the woman who was running from the demon in the hotel. She had been doing some shit, whether it was a Ouija board or some type of sorcery, for that demon to attach to her like that, where you got to run from it like that. Like, bro, that motherfucker was chasing you down the hallway. Yeah, this was just what you people do when you invite these spirits into your lives by, and you might not realize it either. You might not realize it because you're ignorant, but that's what you're doing. All right?
That's when you come into agreement with demonic activity. And believe it or not, you listening to Beyonce, you're coming into agreement with demonic activity. Why? Because just like she said in her song, she's giving off that Oshun energy. You think she out here dressing like Oshun for no reason? No, this is a whole ritual.
That's a demon.
This is her showing her allegiance.
And you'll be out there worshiping her, singing her songs at her concert, and the whole time, this bitch got a whole, she presenting a whole demon to you. Okay? Beyonce is a fucking devil. Okay? May YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, Shalak upon her, Jay-Z, all these demons, man. They do some wicked shit, man. This is why all these singers, when they come up, that's a video about that. All these singers, when they come up, they have to what? They have to thank Beyonce. When they get an award, they have to thank Beyonce. Why? Because Beyonce is like the fucking head, a sorcerer. The damn chief sorceress.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's not to Christ. Beyonce may have used to being a Christian. However, she got with Jay-Z. She started being around the wrong people. Now she's completely into spirituality, African ancestry. That has nothing to do with the one true.
Yeah, basically, the higher you get in this world, the less you believe in the Most High, the God of the Bible. Okay, this is why people who get some type of fame, or eventually they start to get more and more dark, more and more wicked. Okay, because what? They have to go deal with those demonic spirits.
With Yahweh. She's completely lost.
And his name is YAHAWAH. This guy's lost too. The Lord's name is YAHWAH. His son's name is YAHAWASHI. But we know that people are trying to get on track. And he might come into the truth later. Who knows? I don't know what the G stand for on his hat. That could be some Freemason shit. Even the people who try to act righteous and holy and like they believe in God are demons too. Okay? This is the world we're living in. And this is why we'll never tell you that we so holy and righteous. And you got Jake that'll be on these, even some of these guys and that claim to be in the truth. The nigga be in a video trying to prove that he's more righteous than the next man. Nigga, we all wicked, bro. Our righteousness is as filthy rags. For you to even you missed the plot, okay?
Her judgment is completely crowded. She's completely in darkness.
And the Lord said it's like a smoke in his nose. But let's read some precepts. All right, let's go right here. It says, Exodus chapter 22, verse 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So what happened to a witch? They got put to death, okay? The Lord doesn't, like witchcraft, or it's not dealing with sorcery, okay? When you fall on that stead, eventually you're going to be taken and destroyed. It says, This is Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 9. It says, when thou art come into the land which the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. And this is what Jake has done as they came into these other lands. And that's why they say it's an African thing. Jake learned that from them Hamites. Okay? I saw a video. I got to, Lord will not go into it. But it was an African, one of them African countries or whatever, where basically you had a motherfucker that was so heavy into the witchcraft where he was able to levitate, and do these crazy things as he was dancing unto these guys. They able to do some superstitious stuff over there because they're dealing with spirits and demons. Okay, so the Lord said when you go into these lands, like how you even America, Jake come over here to America and they start celebrating, these religions, these holidays and stuff. Scripture says what? Thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations, which is what, these heathens that are following false gods. It says, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, which is what? Child sacrifice. Okay, the modern way of child sacrifice is Planned Parenthood, where women are taking their children to get aborted, up, damn near up until, 2 or 3 months before birth. That's basically a full-grown child that's being sacrificed. Okay? It says, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits. Or what did he say? Do you talk to the dead? Yeah, I feed them. You are a consulter with familiar spirits, nigga. You ain't talking to the dead. You're talking to demons. Okay, and they'll make you think that it's your great-great-grandma who passed away 10 years ago or anything, and have you out here, really lost and confused. Like I said, another movie to watch is that movie Talk to Me. Watch that movie Talk to Me. All right, that movie's heavy because that woman, her mother died, and she went into that, she was all into doing that sorcery with that demonic hand because she thought she was going to be able to talk to her mother. Okay, but it wasn't her mother. In fact, you had a demon that portrayed her, that pretended to be her mother just to get into her mind and shit, man. That's a sick movie, bro. I'm not saying sick as in bad. I'm saying sick as in good because it shows you how the spirit world works, man. These are movies I'm gonna watch again. I don't watch scary movies, but if it's something spiritual that could, if it's a spiritual understanding I can get out of it, I'm gonna watch it. And them two movies, I went into my other video earlier. Smile 1 and 2. Talk to Me, and there's other ones. Fallen with Denzel. These movies are showing you what are teaching you about the spirit world. Okay, which is very important. It's very important, imperative for us to understand in this walk. It says, or a necromancer, somebody who communicates with the dead. Okay. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and because of these abominations, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, thy power doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with Yahweh Shem Yahushai, thy power, for these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observers of times and diviners. But as for thee, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, thy power, have not suffered thee to do so. So these nations were literally dealing with demons, okay, and all type of sorceries and stuff, and then the Most High allowed us to overcome them. And then Jake was so damn simple and stupid that they'll start following the demons that got them, that got these people that they taking over, man. Okay, this is why the Lord got to get rid of a lot of our people. It says in the NLT, it says at verse 8, he may eat his share of the sacrifices and offerings, even if he also receives support from his family. When you enter the land the Lord your power is giving you, be very careful not to imitate the detestable customs of the nations living there, right? And this is what Jake will do. They will be copying these other nations. Okay, it says, for example, never sacrifice your son or daughter as a burnt offering, and do not let your people practice fortune telling or use sorcery or interpret omens or engage in witchcraft, which nowadays you got these women out here that are doing the tarot card readings and palm readings, and that's all sorceries. You know, when I be going to my gym, I have to pass by one of those places, man. You know, and it's just, you know, just go to show you that this is America, and in our kingdom, you ain't gonna be able to have a spot like that. A motherfucker can come in there and you can read their palm and tell them their fortune and stuff. That's madness, man. It says, or cast spells, and them people are dealing with demons. It says, or cast spells or function as mediums or psychics. What they call themselves? Psychics, right? They'll say that they're a psychic, and oh yeah, they communicating with the dead, and they're really just playing with demons, man. Okay, long story short. All right. Let me see what else it says. Or call forth the spirits of the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord, and it is because the other nations have done these detestable things that the Lord your power will drive them out ahead of you. But you must be blameless before your power, Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi, your power. The nations you are about to displace consult sorcerers and fortune tellers, but the Lord your power forbids you to do such things. You see? So that's the point, you know. We are forbidden to be doing these things, man. You know, it's a sin. I mean, really, it's a sin unto death, man. When you're doing witchcraft and sorceries, I gotta do a video about this woman. You know, she was dating this guy. I'm gonna do a video on it. I'm probably do like a little reaction video. But she was dating this guy, and she wanted him to be in love with her and shit. So what she started doing, putting her menstrual blood in his food. You know, in his food and stuff. She went to a consultant. You know, she went to one of these psychics, or these people that deal with the demons. You know, the voodoo lady, or whatever you want to call them. And she told her how to get this man, you know, in love with her. Something about write his name down and put it in a jar in the freezer. All this shit she was doing. Long story short, she ended up, you know, started putting period blood in his food. And then the guy who she was doing that to, he basically lost his mind. Okay, he had demons on him. She said she'd wake up in the middle of the night and he would be standing over her, staring, with a knife in his hand. And when she would talk to him, he would be lost and confused, not realizing or knowing why he got a knife in his hand. Those are demons, man. When you play them demons gonna play back with you. Okay? I gotta do a video on that. I saved it in my I got a whole playlist for video topics. I saved it. You know, I've been busy lately, man. So I've been only able to do these short lessons. But let me get back into my you know, going on my laptop and, you know, really opening these lessons up. But long story short, man, by the end of the video, you know, she was trying to get away from him, and she didn't want to be with him no more. You know, they ended up having kids. He told me he was gonna kill her and the kids if she tried to leave, and yada yada yada. She tried to get away from the guy, and he ended up slitting her throat, man. You know, he ended up slitting her throat. Now she survived, but she probably got a big ass scar on her throat where this man sliced her throat because of the demons that was on her. But she put them demons on him, you know. And then crazy part is he ended up getting a life sentence, you know, or something like that, and he's in jail forever now because she was doing witchcraft and sorcery and ruined that man's life, you know. So you gotta be mindful of these women too. You're dealing with these women, bitches listening to Beyonce and they following, you know, these particular artists and the gods that they worship and believe in. And you thinking it's sweet, you thinking you in love, and the whole time you are just, you know, about to be destroyed. You've been preyed upon with these spirits. You know, that's the point. I pray the short lesson was edifying to the whole elect. It's just an eye opener, man. All right, the Lord had it where today through the Spirit, I've just been going through these lessons about the spirit world and, you know, these demons and stuff, because these demons are about to turn up, man. All right, the spirit world is about to get more active, more in tune. Okay, things are about to get more, you know, unexplainable. Put it like that. All right. That your average person can't explain. But those of us that's in the spirit and know the spirit, we're going to be able to identify these things and tell you what exactly is happening, what's going on, and why it's happening, and, you know, and such, man. All right, but hey, the warnings are going out. Repent, seek Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi, he may be found. The time is short, man. Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.